Yo, what up YouTube gang? I'm JPatz, and this week we're going to be breaking down how I arrange my boom bap beats. So I'm going to just show you a preview of the beat we're breaking down, and let's jump right into it. You could tell, just simple vibey boom bap. First, what I wanted to start off saying is just don't overthink any of this, because a lot of boom bap tracks are just loops the whole way through anyway. If the artist chooses to even put a hook on it, then they kind of distinguish where that is. But with that being said, for me personally, I always like to have a section that sounds like a verse and a section that sounds like a hook. And another reason I say don't overthink it is because you could always change the arrangement, or the artist might request the arrangement to be changed when there's post-production going on and the track's actually being formed, because maybe they need a longer verse, or maybe they need a shorter verse, or maybe they need the hook to come into a different place. You never know. So I think your only job is to make sure that it inspires the artist to write something to it. Then the rest is kind of up to them, and then working with them and just figuring out what the best arrangement is. With that being said, this track just has a 4-bar intro. I marked all the sections so that you could see clearly. It's pretty standard boom bap arrangement, just to have a hook and a verse and then an intro and an outro. So that's what I do with most of my boom bap tracks. I just make the executive decision as to whether I want to start with the hook or the verse, and then I just proceed to arrange in the track however I feel it sounds best. So on this one, I started with an intro, and then I went into a 16-bar verse, and then an 8-bar hook, then a 16-bar verse, and an 8-bar hook, and then an outro. Real simple. Basically, the intro just kind of gives you a little taste of what's to expect with the beat, but it doesn't give you everything. For me, that was just having the melody in there. The way I like to think of hooks and verses is verse needs to be a little bit more open, so that when the artist comes in, they get whatever they're trying to say off their chest and they have space to do that. And then when the hook comes in, for me at least, I like to just add another sound, or maybe slightly change the melody, or maybe it's just a sound effect, or just one tiny sound to kind of differentiate the hook and the verse. That's the way I kind of think about it. For this, you can hear the verse starts and it sounds super open. And that's going to give the artist a lot of space to say what they need to say. For the second half of the verse, I brought in the melody that's going to be in the hook, but I didn't bring everything that's in the hook in, so it's kind of just giving them a little teaser of what's to come for the hook. So it goes from this, and then to the second half of the verse being like this. So then for the hook, I just, like I said, I wanted to bring in more sounds and make it more active. So kept that melody in there that I added in for the second half of the verse. And then I brought in this guitar, and I brought in a counter melody that I got from Arcade. This is how the hook sounds. When you're arranging your tracks is just kind of to think about it almost like it's a roller coaster, where there's just ups and downs, or even just like life, you know, it's just ups and downs, and building the track up and then having that high energetic moment and then bringing it back down and then building it back up again, you know, so that track doesn't feel that stagnant. Even if not that much is happening, just adding one sound might inspire the artist to write something cool or do like a dope melody that they didn't do in the verse. I like to think about it like that, and you could tell. So look, intro, no bass, no low end, no drums. Then the verse starts super open, drums and bass. And then second half, the melody gets a little bit louder because it's a higher pitch. And then in the hook, we add the guitar. And then on the second half of the hook, we add this counter melody. So the track just keeps like going up and climaxing, you know, until it comes all the way back down and goes into the second verse. Oh, I also just noticed for the second verse, I did a 12-bar verse instead of 16. So when the next verse comes in, I want to bring it back down again, you know, and just give more space to the artist. So I bring in the lower part of the melody. If you notice, as well as bringing the lower part of the melody, I bring in these Rhodes chords that I layered on there too, and they super light, but it just adds something so that the second verse is almost a little different from the first, and it feels like there's a change happening and that the beat isn't just one whole loop. So then on the last 4 bars of the verse, I added in the guitar, lowered down the Rhodes, and then added in a different sound from Arcade and added in a drum break. And this can kind of almost work as like a pre-hook, which just kind of gives you like a taster of the hook and builds into that. Maybe there's a melody they use from the hook to symbolize that it's coming back into the hook. This is how the end of the 8 bars of the verse sounds, going into the pre-hook, or you could just say the verse. And then you see it just kind of brings it home when you go back into the hook. But for this pre-hook part, it's really not necessary in boom bap stuff. I just felt like this is kind of one of those beats that might have some melody sung on it, so it could be cool to have a pre-hook there. But I just put that in there so it's kind of inspiring to the artist when they write into it. They have like a different section to go to. But honestly, most of my boom bap beats is literally just intro, verse, hook, outro. Or it starts with the hook and does the same things. Really, just do not overthink this stuff. It's really simple. Just make sure the track is inspiring to the artist to write to. And if you do want to have the different sections in your beats like I do, where it's hook and verse, just take things out or make like a tiny difference in the verse and make sure the verse feels like it's opening up, or at least that's what I like to do. That's pretty much how I arrange my boom bap beats and my thought process behind it. Hopefully there's something helpful in there that you could take away from this and apply to your own beats. If you did find it helpful, please hit the like button, the subscribe button, and the notification bell, because it'll really help out my channel. And yeah, I'm just gonna keep sharing my knowledge, dropping these gems with all of you. So thanks for tapping in. I'm JPatz. Peace.